There we go. All right. So welcome to lesson 2. We're going to continue to progress in our learning here today. We're going to, I think of this as one of those perfect presentations, not really because I'm all that great, but it's light in slides and it's heavy in getting into the tool and walking around and showing you, right? I'm going to spend the vast majority of the time in FamilySearch, and we're going to get comfortable with, get familiar with the different options. We're going to walk through creating an account. That way, if you don't have an account, you can, and you have screen space, pop open a browser and walk along and create an account with me. Or if it's been a while since you've created an account, it's a good thing to review and to go on with. So, no further ado, there we go. All right. So if you go to FamilySearch.org, this is the page you're going to wind up with. If you want, you can put the HTTPS, all that before it. But nowadays, most of these websites, if you just put like FamilySearch.org, they figure out what you want to do and pop you into the website anyway. So little shortcut for those that don't like copy or typing redundant things. So this is the landing page. It's the landing page for everybody. When you're not signed in, there isn't a lot that somebody can do. There are a couple of little things here and there, but most of them are teasers to try to get people to sign up for an account. And like we talked, for those that were with me for the first session, the services are free, regardless of who you are, whether you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or not. Anybody can have an account, and those two accounts are almost 100% equivalent in features. There's a couple of things that a member account has that can do that isn't in an account for a non-member, and I'll talk about that when we're setting it up here in a minute or two. But all in all, there's no tiers or saying, hey, here's free, and if you want to do this, you got to pay. There's no pay to play. FamilySearch wants as many people that wants to be doing family history wants to provide them that opportunity to do it. And so they give us these great tools for free. So I'm going to hit up here in the right-hand corner, or I could hit this blue box. Or if I scroll down here, there's another, somewhere down here, there's another box that says sign in. So you get the idea. They want us to sign in. So I'm going to create an account. And this is what it comes up. You can give your first name. I'm not going to really create it. I'm just going to fill stuff in so this moves on. But I already have an account, so I'm not going to try to create a new account. I'm just going to pick a random birthday because I'm not going to go all the way through. And one of the things I'm going to show you here is I'm going to pick 2010. It's my birthday, which would make me 10 years old. And as much as I wish that were true, it's off by a pretty good factor. But anyways, I'm going to pick that I'm a male. I'm going to say I am a member. I'm going to hit continue. Now, right here, because I'm under the underage, I'm not. I think it's 12 or 13. It looks like where it counts. It seems like 13 and older. But you need to provide permission, and so the youth that's doing this would pick up, give me a parent's church record number, which is preferred. Ask a parent. And send, what it do is ask for a text message. Just ask for their number, and then they'll get a text message that authorizes that, or they can do the exact same thing with an email. Okay, and then after they get authorized, then the youth can continue creating their account. Now, if I'm older, if I go in here and I say, okay, 2007, I'm a little bit older now, and so I don't get that prompting. Just FYI. So let's, the only difference between signing up as a member and signing up as a non-member is that checkbox and this field is this screen, right? So if you're a member, you want to provide your record number like it says here. There's 3 ways to do that. You can find it in member tools from an online, a mobile app. It's really buried, but you can find it in there. You can ask the ward clerk or bishopric member, or look on your temple recommend. I also believe it's on a limited use recommend as well. Put that in here. If you don't happen to have it, you can check it right now and continue. And I'll show you how you would add it back in later. So the differences. to my knowledge, from what I've been able to glean, there's 3 differences between having an account that has a church membership number and an account that doesn't in functionality. One of them is that in Family Tree, your ancestor records will display ordinance information, whether they're ready for ordinances or have their ordinances done. And they're, in that first lesson, we talked about some of the data ties that come into FamilySearch, into the databases. One of them is an integration into the temple ordinance database, and it displays that. So if we're in here tending to do work and doing temple work for our ancestors, having that tie to be able to see what the status of their ordinance is, whether ordinance work has been all done. If the ordinance work's been all done, we definitely don't want to duplicate it. We talked about that in the last lesson. Just from we want to spend our time helping somebody else on that. Okay, so that's the first difference. Records with logins with membership records will get to be able to see temple ordinance information. The second is members can utilize a help others function, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. It's kind of a cool thing. It's one of those, I think it's one of those mystery buttons, mystery things that most people just don't even really know they have. But it's really cool. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But there's help others, and then the last one is in lesson 1, I talked about when a member passes away. If they have a record in Family Tree that says they're living. When a member passes away, the membership clerk actually updates the membership record for that person that indicates that they're deceased. That update then goes into FamilySearch, and if that member has a record in the tree, the status of that record is transitioned from living to deceased automatically. Right, that's how they do that. That's how they do that tie. So, to my knowledge, that's the 3, at least the 3 main ones that I've run into. I guess there could be other ones that I haven't found, but I have done a little bit of research on it. So, if somebody knows different, I'm all ears. So, but anyway, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on here. Right, I'm going to set a username, create passwords. I'm going to choose a recovery option in case I forget my password, either mobile, where I'm going to put my email, my phone in, my mobile device, or an email, put an email. I'm going to tell it where I am in the world. I'm going to accept these 2 items, and I'm going to hit create an account. And boom, I have an account. You should get a acknowledgement back. I don't remember if you actually get an email that says respond. You probably get an email back that tells you to respond. Click on this to respond to activate. That's pretty standard, so I would assume that's in there. So you might want to do that. And then once you have that account, you can go in here and log in. Now, I actually have 2 accounts. The Spartrue is my account that's linked to my membership number. I actually have a second number that isn't, or a second ID that isn't linked to a membership number that I created so that I could actually understand what the differences were between an account with a membership record and an account without. So I'm going to log into that because I want to show you around in that account a little bit. So you're set up, you're in. I'm going to go to settings. Right? This is everything about your account. Here you can edit and change your name, all of those kinds of things. The important thing is I get down here. If you created an account and didn't have your membership record and intend to put one in, this is where you go. You go under settings, you go down here to account changes, add record number. You click it, you add your record number, and you're good. Now you're get the benefits of being a member of the church in here. So. To my knowledge, I haven't been able to find a way that if you typo it and commit it, I haven't found a way to fix that. I would imagine that's contacting FamilySearch to do that, but I don't know that for a fact. I haven't been through that. I don't know anybody that has. So let's see other things, and then there's just other bits in here about whether you want to be communicated with by anybody else. There's permissions around relationship viewing. There's a feature in here that's really kind of cool that allows people to look at their relationships to another person in the tree, in the shared tree. You can opt out of people being able to see you if you want. When we talk about a helper access, every user in Family Tree has a unique helper number. You're going to want that helper number as part of the information to be able to help a person. That person would give you at minimum their user ID and their helper ID to allow you to do that. And you'll see how that lines up later. This permissions also will grow. There are some of the things we'll talk about in future classes is FamilySearch manages technology partnerships and allows other providers like Ancestry or independent developers like the BYU Family History Laboratory to be able to allow creation of features that relies on pulling information out of the family tree. And I'm going to show you one of those at the end from the Family History Technology Lab at BYU that actually goes in and it pulls out information out of the family tree and shows who your famous people you might be related to, Constitution signers and all those kinds of things like that. All of those things get authorized on a function by function basis, and they show up here. And so if you ever want to remove that authorization, this is the place you would do. You'd find the link that you want to eliminate and revoke it. So there's nothing here because this account isn't linked to anything, but that's kind of important. Okay, so I'm going to switch now and go back into my regular full function account so that we've got a lot of stuff to look at. So first place, once you log in, your landing page, your home page here is largely, the content here will largely be customized based upon your information, who you are, information in your family tree, but there's also some really good general information and opportunities. I want to call your attention up to the top here. So the Roots Tech Conference, which is an incredible conference, has always been live. They've done two sessions, one in Salt Lake and one in London. All of those have been canceled this year for obvious reasons. So they're doing it completely online, and I think it's the third weekend in February, and it's free. You can sign up here. You get virtual passes. In the past, they've had multiple tracks, multiple classes. There's a lot of recordings. There's some great stuff. And this is actually one of the premier genealogical types of conferences. So you get a lot of different types of speakers. You get representatives from all the major family history programs and services and things like that. There's a lot of really good information. If you're aspiring to learn more, this is a great place. And they usually have tracks for beginning, intermediate, and expert. So you can kind of pick your level or just pick topics that are of interest to you. So the other thing I want to point out, one of the things that I like to bring up a lot, is the fact that there's a number of things that anybody could do in FamilySearch that is of service to other family historians, but that doesn't take very long to do. Next month, we'll talk about indexing. You could blow through an index, one batch from an indexing perspective in 10 to 15 minutes, depending upon the amount of information and complexity of it. And that indexing helps other people because it helps them find data that they might not have been able to find before. It's a massive help. Well, every so often, FamilySearch will pop up these other opportunities. And so if I click on this, I have an opportunity. They're looking for people to say, I want you to spend a few minutes and help FamilySearch standardize place names on existing records. Because there's a standard place name, there's a standard way dates are put in, and that assists in searching, and it helps the algorithms that are trying to find connections work more efficiently. And so, you pick your country and you hit here, and it's going to give you 10 records, and some of them you're not going to be able to resolve, and you can hit skip. And it's literally, if you're just looking to say, hey, I want to do something family history related, I want to serve, I've got 15 minutes. My bet is you could probably get in and do something like this and do 10 of these in easily in 15 minutes. Is my bet. That's been my experience at least. So great opportunities there. Other things now, as you get records in your family tree, then this homepage gets more and more useful to you, right? So I see down here, these are all people from my family tree. It's highlighting information, or if somebody else maybe added something new, it just kind of updates in here. It's just kind of an updating content feed that about people in my tree. But some of the stuff that I think is really a nice savings. You can go into your family tree, and when you've got all you start getting people in there, you're going to start getting little prompts about, hey, I've got this, I've got information sources about marriage certificates or birth dates or this or that might apply to this person, and ask you to resolve their research hints and tips and all these things that the algorithms and the automation within FamilySearch is doing to try to help us be better, be more efficient family historians. Now you can find that stuff all over the place in your family tree, especially if there's a lot of names, a lot of records in there. But you know what? Oh yeah, is there somebody making a comment? No. All right. But right under recommended tasks, it boils all that stuff up. So again, if you're saying, hey, I've got 15 minutes, I just want to do something. I feel like I need to do something, right? I just want to do something. It doesn't have to be big. I want to do something. You come in here, you hit recommended tasks, and you go down through here and go, okay, what's this? Oh, I'll say, so Betty, the system may have found a record, county marriage, and I could click on that. I could look at that and determine, yeah, this is Betty, and associate it to her record. And that's, guess what? I've added a source to that record, and which we talked about in lesson 1. One of our goals as family historians that FamilySearch wants us to be able to do is to help create one accurate record for every person that's ever lived. And the way we establish an accurate record is by giving it source information, so that people can look at that and go, I know that's Betty Hunter because there's 10 different sources that point to her, and all the data points to the fact that this is absolutely Betty Hunter. So being able to resolve a couple of these hints, these record hints, can lead me to the overall goal of data integrity that I'm looking for, that we're aiming for. Okay, and you just continue. Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. No. These record hints, do you know, because I see these a lot, do you know, do you only get a record hint for a certain person if that person is already in your tree?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it has to be connected to a tree.
It has to what?
Yeah, I think it has to be connected into the tree somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the reason why they're sorry, putting my daughter to bed.
Oh yeah, no worries.
That's the reason why they notify you, because this is someone that's already in your tree, and somewhere in the world this particular record got indexed. Yeah. It's now in the system, and they want you to verify that it's your ancestor.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely right. It's helping, doing its thing to kind of help out. And this is one of these examples of why this family history work never really is done. You may get in there and you have this massive tree built out, but there's always more data being added. And so you're always going to get these types of hits. You may always get these hits. So even if we think we're really well done, there's still maybe more information that rolls in over time. And so we always want to keep doing that. And then there's also a degree of helping the algorithms get smarter. When as we help select these types of things, we actually can help teach the system as well to be more accurate, to be better at what it does. So that's a really helpful, and I think often overlooked portion of just right on the homepage. The next one, recent people, it just keeps a list of the most recent people that you've been working in. So if I get back in here and I go, oh yeah, I was working on Terry, my wife's my father-in-law, and I want to go right back to his record because I wanted to go back to it. I get a shortcut right there. I don't have to, I could go into the tree and find him in the tree and get to the same point. But again, it's just about giving shortcuts and making excuse me, to minimize clicks and minimize the time you have to navigate somewhere to do something. Right? Again, just a nice little feature, and one that I haven't used yet, I just because I'm not in the habit. You have this capability to create this to-do list. So you're in here doing some research. You find a couple of things that you want to check into, but you don't have time to do it. And then if you're like me, you say, I'm going to write this down, and you scribble a note off to the side, and then the note gets lost and you forget what you was like, oh, what was it I was going to do? No, bounce out to your homepage, write yourself an item. This is just a text box. Look at Noel's relationship to his uncle, right? And hit add. And the next time I come in, right alongside of recommended tasks, the recent people, I have my to-do list to jog my memory and go, oh, that's right, I was going to do that. And then you get it done, you check it off the list, and it's done. You move it on. So again, just some just a lot of great things. I think I think the interface has been pretty well designed for efficiency and for human family historians. We get scatterbrained. We have bright shiny object syndrome sometimes, right? So.
Well, yeah, and that's a huge thing too, because I was thinking, okay, I need to make a separate list, maybe an Excel sheet to track my work, because when you find someone, you almost don't want to stop working because you're afraid that you're going to lose that person.
Yeah, right? You really get into the groove, and that's one of the things I've been trying to do, because you get working on something that sometimes just a to-do list is, but I've also had situations where you actually do need like an external research journal to keep track. As you get into some of these things, some of these knots that you need to untie, you gotta record them in that respect as well. So, excuse me. All right. True. So, right. So that's just the homepage, right? That's just our homepage. We've created an account and landed on a homepage, and we have all these things. So let me go through. I want to go through some of these options. Some of these we're not going to touch on, because we're going to hit them in depth in the future. So family tree, this is where we build our charts, our pedigree charts. We're going to spend lots of time here in future, but there's just a lot of options. Search, you could spend a lot of time in here looking for records, images, searching into the tree for things, genealogies, catalogs. But there's a lot of great in here. It can honestly be, for me at least, it can be very overwhelming. There's so much information. And that's why I was really impressed. Let's see, make sure I'm getting it here. I was really impressed with the recent addition. So I went to the Research Wiki, which is one of those places that there's just tons of information, and it's really easy to get buried in. They've recently, in a recent release update, I want to say in the last 6 months, maybe it's been a little long, I think it's the last 6 months, they've added this guided research option, okay? So guided research, the purpose of guided research is to help prioritize, help point you at prioritized lists of where you might find data, instead of just saying, oh, here's 50 links, good luck, right? This one, it says it's going to provide me a list. So I'm going to say, let's say Missouri. I'm going to click on it, and I click on it, really? Let's see. Sometimes it takes it. There we go. So it's going to go, then it's going to step, because what am I looking for? What are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for death information. Then it comes in and says, okay, start here. And this is the source, and you're just going to open a window that way. If you don't find it here, go to here, which is at Ancestry, and it might be a charge depending if you have an account or not. And if that doesn't work, here's some additional online research, right? At least it takes all those sources, and it begins to at least try to structure them based on people who are professional at searching these things, and go, okay, that's good. So now I go here and I say, okay, I'm looking for my great grandmother. She's been a little bit of a mystery, okay? And I hit this, and I stumbled across this earlier today, actually. I was looking at this, Betty Clifford, deceased. I click on the view the image, and I look at this, and I kind of go, start looking at the dates. I have in my tree that she was married to a John H. Clifton. Here's a John E. Clifton, but the dates are the same, and all of a sudden I look at this and I go, I was preparing for this meeting. I'm going to look at this closer, because I might have stumbled into something that might actually point to an error I have in my tree, because I may actually have Betty attached to the wrong, somebody wrong that's throwing me off, right? So this is, very much a detective work, and it could very well be Betty Clifton isn't a very unique, could very well be a completely different Betty, but it gives me something more to look for than I had before. I was at a dead end. It gives me a little bit more to look at. I go, oh, search to see if there's a John E. Clifton, and who is that, and who's he tied to? Maybe I've got the wrong husband. I went meeny, miny, mo, and I picked the wrong one. So, anyways, it's just it's a very thoughtful tool designed by people who are expert at family research, knowing that the rest of us aren't experts in trying to help us, right? So that's a cool feature. I imagine that most people don't know about it because it's actually fairly new. So that's under search down here under research. Memories is the one that when I talk to people, most people don't know exists, which is really unfortunate. It's a really cool feature. I can go in here and I can add pretty much any kind of file as a memory, audio files, pictures, all those kinds of things. If you watched or watched the lesson 1 live, or just watched a replay of it, you may remember the story that I told. I went to a virtual conference earlier in the summer, and they did a youth section in there, and there were 2 returned missionaries that were kind of hosting it. And one of the missionaries was talking about on his mission. He says missionaries love their letters. That's their high point. He says, but my younger brother did something really unique. He said my younger brother started recording family stories that we grew up hearing from our grandfather. And every week he would either record it himself, or if he could, he'd get grandpa to record it. And then he'd upload it as a memory. So I would get a letter from the family, and then I'd get this memory, sometimes in my grandfather's voice. And he says, little did I know at that time that 3 months later, my grandfather, or 3 months after I get home from my mission, my grandfather would pass away. And he said, those recordings are cherished memories now to me. And it just reminds me that family history isn't just names, places, and dates. That's the clerical side of the work that we're doing. Family history is about lives and about stories and about people. And the best time to record that stuff is now, not 50 years from now, right? And so again, this family history work needs to be ongoing and something we're trying to do, try to figure out how to do it little at a time. I'm going to show you when I get through the web interface, I'm going to go into the mobile apps and show you how really easy this is in the memory app on a phone. So I'll come back around to that. But one of the things that I did want to show in here is, so I had some, come on back to me. I had my wife's sister. I was thinking too hard on this. My wife's sister had found a number of documents from their father, and scanned them and uploaded them, and they're and here they are. So I had scanned. I took the digital. I loaded them as a memory, and then this is Terry's postponement of induction. And then when you do this, you can associate it with the person or persons in the memory. So now if I go to Terry, and he's passed away now. So now if I go to Terry, he's got all these memories, but some of them are memories, are documents that I uploaded in my account, and because I associated to somebody who is dead, he's open now, that information is there, right? So, and some of these things, like I found their marriage, there was a marriage certificate in the pile that the sister had scanned. I took that marriage certificate, loaded it on here, associated it both to Terry and Pat. So they had that image, but then also recorded it as a source for both of them as a marriage. So I've been able to take this actual document and give source information, but also attach memories for other family members. So it's a very powerful and not understood. I don't think very understood. I'm still playing with it, and I don't really know if there's a lot of people that really use it the way that they could. So memories. Yep. Go for it.
If I wanted to interview my living parents and record a memory, How does that work when it comes to saving those memories under their, I guess, would they just do it because they're living? And so they say, this is my memory, I'm going to save it under my profile or my record.
Yep. Yeah. That's what they'd have to do. That's what they'd have to do. So, and then when they pass away, it would become, it should become public then in that way. So then anybody else could do it, could have it. And unfortunately, they might be able to, in their own account, to associate it to, it would be hard to, they would have to do it, but just associate with themselves.
Okay. So on that vein, if let's say I'm interviewing a 95-year-old great grandparent who's probably not going to get online and save the memory under their own. So is it just a matter of maybe logging into their account and doing it for them, or?
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to show you this help others. That's where help others feature can do. It allows you, with the user's permission, to impersonate that user and do things with your tree.
Perfect. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm getting there. Yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so that's memories. Indexing we're going to talk about in next month, so I'm going to skip over there. Activities is a very very interesting option. Just a lot of really cool activities for an individual or for a family. And so one of them here is, if I go all about me, because this is my account, I was born in 1964. It goes in and it pulls up, all kinds of stuff about me, right? Historical trivia things, which, that's kind of cool. And you can pick a different year for people that are out of your tree and all that, all those kind of things like that. If I pick my mom, here's what went on the year she was born. So that's, that's kind of fun. That's just kind of a fun thing. You pop it up, you think about that, you pop it up and you talk about that with kids or within your siblings or whatever, right? It's a lot of this stuff is discussion starters, which is the very first. It's really key. It's one of the most important parts. Is just getting the discussion started, and then figuring out how to retain that information in a way that other people will be able to enjoy it sometimes. So, record my story is ways to help you record about yourself, right? So I would go goals and accomplishments. I pick a case here. What's your biggest regret or failure? And it goes right in here. It says type a response, or I could click record and record it, and then it gets saved as part of my record, as part of my memories, right? But it's great because it gets you thinking and it gets you talking, right, about things. And it's a lot of these questions. I look at these. A lot of these questions aren't necessarily questions that you just ask each other sitting around the table, right? It's very interesting. And then this one, especially with kids.
Sorry. About that one. Okay, so let's say you use the record something about yourself in under the activities. When you're deceased and your record is now more public, does all of that you did there just show up under the memory tab under your, do you know? Yeah. Yes, it will. Yep. Okay. And that's one of the reasons too. There's also a guide when we're putting photos up, to be mindful of who's in the photos that we put up, and not to do things like put photos up of children and other kinds of things. We just have to be respectful of, just because a memory transitioned into the public domain because it was attached to grandpa and grandpa died. There might be a picture. If there's a picture of a living person, somebody could have some people might have a beef that their privacy is being violated. So it's things like that we kind of have to think about sometimes now in this world of privacy and being respectful of people's privacy. But to your core question, it would transition out with everything else. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. So this one's about, is just about me, about my family, about the temple. Again, these are just short discussion things you can do with kids, you can do with yourself. Just write down information, name of my country, popular foods. This seems really kind of bland, but you think about this, if you, with your kids and your family, as much as your kids grow and change, if you guys, once a year, if you're saying, hey, let's go through and look at these again. Hey, do you still love macaroni and cheese? Oh no, macaroni and cheese, terrible. I love pizza.
That's silly stuff now, but I watch my wife and her sisters and her family sit around and talk about just the small little history things in their family and realize, these little facts or these little things can be really joyful nuggets in 20 or 30 years. That's all under here. That's under activities, right? And then once you get going, you're looking at this, you're going, hey, I can modify this. How do I modify this for little kids? How do I modify this for grown siblings, right? A family get together, there's all kinds of ways to do those things. Okay. It's about getting the discussion started. Temple, we're going to spend time there as well because we're talking about temple ready and all that part of our family tree and data integrity and all those kind of things. So I'm going to come back to that. Let me hit help. Help is always a good thing to know. First of all, interesting enough, if I hit contact me, because I'm a member and because it knows where I am, what ward I'm in, and everything, I actually get, if I hit contact us, I get my ward contacts. Now they haven't changed this yet because they made a recent leadership change and haven't decided, I guess, who the Temple Family History leader is. So I'm still there by default, but Dee and Janice and Marvin are wonderful family history consultants. And so those are people I can go for help locally, right? I know how to get there for them locally. Here's my local family history centers that are close to me. FamilySearch is a separate entity from our church. They have their own support structure. They have their own tech support. So while they're open, I could do things like I could call them. If it were during their operating hours right now, which it isn't, I'd have a button right here that says chat, where I could actually click on here and open up a live chat with a support person to get my question answered. And it can be simple, silly questions, or it can be big questions. It doesn't matter. They're there to help to do whatever. And they do a good job. I think they get overwhelmed. I think they get a lot of questions sometimes, but it's a great thing, great option to have. If I go back to here, Help Center just takes you to a bunch of articles on different things. So I want to look at FamilySearch. I can type in a specific question and it'll take me to an article, or I may just cruise down through here. And these tend to be organized by the most asked kinds of questions or the most retrieved objects down the road here, down the list a little bit. So that is good. Community. This is another one that I haven't even experimented with that much, but it's just a nice touch. It really is about a connection to a community of individuals like you and I, who are we're doing family history. It could be just somebody who professionally does it, or it could be a family. It could be any number of people. I can get into this community. I may find support questions where I've got a lot of support avenues, but sometimes there's something to be said about asking a question and trying to get a larger opinion on something, right? So that's a good place. And then there's tons of groups out there, and there's constantly stories that I hear about people who are at a dead end on some relative, and they wind up joining a Facebook group or some other group that is associated to something that relative was in, and they connect with somebody that knows somebody who knows how to get the information that they need, right? Sometimes we have to put ourselves in position for the Lord to connect us with the people we need. And this is another really cool way to do it. Again, something I just don't think a lot of people know about. And then we get to the feature that I've alluded to. So there's helper resources. This is a feature in general we're going to talk about in the future, the planner, which is really a way that you can, if you had a couple of people in your ward that you were helping, you could go in and make a plan to help. Okay, I want to do this, I need to do this or help this. But I can also add someone that I want to be able to help, right? To be able to gain access to their account. In order for this to happen, I have to have information from them, right? I have to get information. So it's going to walk me through here, and I have to be able to have enough information from that person to prove to the system that person gave me permission because they gave me information. So I can't just go in here and plop in names and get access to anybody's records. But so let me click on this. Let me show you what that does. I'm going to click on here. It's going to spin up. Also, it says you are helping Grace Ann Law. If I go into here, I'm in her tree. Right? I'm in her tree, and I can do whatever. I'm impersonating her. And the purpose of there's a couple different purposes, but for me in our role, I think one of the great purposes of this is if there's somebody in your ward that says, hey, I'm having trouble doing this or this, can you tell me how to do it? You say, well, it might be better. It's probably easier for me to show you and walk them through, allowing you to help them, right? Share out a screen just like I am here. And now you're walking through their tree, and you can say, okay, you see, you're going to do this, and you're going to click here, and you're going to click there, and you're going to do this, on and on and on. Okay. So it's a great, it's a great feature that I don't know how many people know about it. So there's really two kinds. I'll say there's two kinds of help me. There is, oops, I didn't read the pop-up. There's what I did. I did here through helper resource through the planner. Okay, so what this does is kind of creates this link to the user, to this other user account. And you would do this if it's somebody that you're constantly working with and you just want that link. It's not permanent, but it stays, it resides in there. So, but if let's say it's just a one-time thing, it's just a one-time deal, you could go up to help others here, and then it's going to walk you through information. You're either going to need to provide the full name, last name, the birth date, and the helper number of the person you're trying to help, or their username and their helper number. You sign in, and then you get into their account. What I've seen on this is more of a one-time only. You get in, you're done. When you exit, you're done. There's no connection. It's kind of a one and done kind of a deal. So there's two ways to do the same thing on that. But again, a great tool. And it links very, very well with some of the technology stuff we're talking about doing a Zoom to share screen so people can see. You can help them wherever they happen to be. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is and we're winding down. I think, how are we doing on time? Okay, all right, like usual. I'm a little long-winded, sorry about that, but we are winding down. But what I want to do is show. All right, cool. So you can see, so I'm going into my mobile app. I'm going into the Family Tree app. Family Tree app, anybody can download it. They do need a FamilySearch account in order to get into it. But once they get into it, it pulls all their information. Here's my tree. It's displayed in a slightly different way. All those tasks, right? Temple ready, recent types of things. Now, if I go here, I get a couple of really cool things. So the improved places tree right here. So if you're sitting in line somewhere, or you're sitting waiting to be called, and you're like, hey, you know what? I've got anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes because I don't know when I'll be called. You sit down and help somebody just by running through 10 places. Really quickly, really convenient. Let's see what else. The family history activities that we went through. It actually opens up the web page and shows you how to do there. That's pretty neat. There's also a second app called the Memories app, and you can launch it directly just like you would this, or you can actually cross-launch it from Family Tree right here. So there's my Memories app, and if you notice, these are the documents that we're sitting in here, right? Those are all the documents, and so I can tap on this, and I can, if you look down here at the bottom, I can do things like add comments about that. I can associate it. Oops. I can associate people, so I can do a lot of the same things, often in a different way. But it's all that capability is there, and it's in this form. It's in this form factor now. Say I want to add something. Here you are. I want to add audio. So let's say back to the scenario where you're talking to your great grandmother and you're recording things, or grandfather, or mom, or dad, or whoever, right? You can write on your phone. You could either record you talking to them and them answering in the recording app that's your phone has, and then upload that file. So that's what the My Files would be, or you can record it directly. The big difference between that is I think what I've seen in the Memories app, the audio clip has got a 5-minute limit to it, unless they change that. My Files, an audio clip from a My Files load, I think is a 15 meg minimum. So that's a big file. That can be a pretty big audio file. But again, that's really the best to me, is the easiest way to get any of that, to get any any of those types of things done, right? Take pictures, do audio, and then upload it. Let's see, just really quick. So pretty interesting stuff. A lot of stuff there. Hopefully you've seen some things on here that you had no idea that was there, and you've gotten some ideas on how to use that. One of the peripheral network or application sites, if you go to Family History Technology Lab, fhtl.byu.edu, they have all these applications that link into your family tree. So I'm going to log in here. It's going to ask me to log in with my FamilySearch account. And it's going to log in. It's using communication in the backside there. It's gone through my whole tree, and it's looked at this, and it's pulled up all kinds of different people that are important people, special people. I can go in here and click Constitution and Declaration, Declaration signers, or sports figures. If you know me, if you take a look at me, there's probably not a lot of sports genes too close to me in the tree, at least. But this is one of those things that it's just kind of a cool use of all that technology, all that stuff on the backside. And and it's really, to me, it's just a kind of a fun activity to look at some of this. And then there's other things like a genealogy Jeopardy game, where it goes in there, looks at your tree, and then it begins to give Jeopardy style questions around people from your tree. It's just a great way to learn people, learn things. So, the message here is that data that goes in there, you're going to do a lot of stuff with it. Most importantly, obviously, is make sure that your ancestors are connected and documented well, but that their ordinances are getting done. But there's a lot of value to the living generations as well, to getting to know those ancestors as well. So a lot of good stuff there. So I will. Oops, where am I going? I want to finish off. Last page. This is I mentioned at the top of the presentation. This is the YouTube channel, right? If you go to YouTube and search, search for here, you will actually, this is exactly what you'll find. Now, one of the things I'm doing when I upload these videos, I'm putting a specific thumbnail on them based on what series they are. So this is the Learning Family Search thumbnail. So every one of the recordings that go up there will have that's from this first Wednesday, will have that thumbnail with a description on it. When I get into the technology ones, they'll go here as well, but they'll have a different thumbnail. So the idea, my geeky reason for doing that is it's hopefully a little bit quicker and easier for people to discern what they're looking for as they're going, especially if you get 10, 15, and you're scrolling down. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging in some of these channels to find what you're looking for in there. So anyways, again, thank you so very much for coming. Hopefully it was interesting to you. Of course, as I said before, Sister Reed and I are here to help however we can. We all hope that you have a great holiday, a safe holiday with your families, and just have a great time. Thanks.
And John,
yes,
just want to say thank you. You're telling me I'm doing the heavy lifting. No, you're the technology heavy lifter. Okay, so you're good. And we appreciate all the stuff that you're doing.
Well, I'm counting on you to keep my facts straight.
You're doing fine.
Okay, good. That's okay. If I pass that test, I'm happy. That's been a good day. Good night. So anyways, all right. Unless anybody have any questions or additional comments, Well, we're done.
This was really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, really, really well done. Appreciate it. I do, maybe this is just a request for future content. One thing that I don't know a lot of things, but one thing that I don't know that's on my mind right now is how a non-member interacts with FamilySearch. And I know you mentioned it, that the differences between a membership account and a non-member account, but maybe we could, if you wouldn't mind, in the future, diving a little more into that, because I really want, I've had, non-member coworkers approach me,
Yeah.
knowing that I'm a member, and they've wanted to see what they could do. And I realized, I was like, oh man, I don't really know everything that you can do.
Yeah. and I had that one account, right? That's not it's not connected with a membership account. That's my non-member account. And as I've worked in that and played around with it, the three things that I told you were about all that I found that I couldn't do. I could do everything in the tree. I could do all the searching. I could do all those kind of things, but we can play with it at a little bit more depth, or maybe there's somebody that has experience. They've got a family member or something.
Yeah. When you get started, and you just log in without a membership account, is it, when you look at the tree, it's just you, right? Does it prompt you to make a profile for yourself, your birth date and all that?
Yeah, when you're signing up there, you put your name and your birth date in there, and you go through and you create it, and it will then create a record that's kind of the root of your tree, and it'll have your name and your birth date in it, and that's going to be about it. And then you can go in and add more to it.
Okay, so you're just going to be manually adding your family members that you know of.
Yep.
And now, so when it comes to FamilySearch being the same, like having the same kind of weight to it for that non-member, is FamilySearch still going to see if they can identify members of that person's family as much as they can and give them like tips and stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The only thing they won't give a non-member is the temple ordinance information, whether an ancestor had temple ordinance work done.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's so on that home page when they sign in, as long as maybe they've put up to their, let's say all they could do was their grandparents, like their parents and their grandparents, they should eventually start getting hints and to do items like, hey, we think this is your ancestor's record. Can you look at it? Yeah,
they'll get whatever the automation is in there. Yeah, to be able to connect to that.
Wow.
Unless somebody else knows different, I don't know of any other limitations. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
And you can see that they've done it. You can see that they've done things, non-members, because I've pulled in a lot of people to my tree, and the work hasn't been done because they were non-members when they put it in. So
yeah. So yeah, it really
it shows up for me, but not for them.
Yeah. So it really is a great, and I know they've talked a lot at the stake level and in other places too about connecting, making sure that the Family History Committee and all the wards are working with the missionary committee, so that the missionaries have that touch point, so that they may have investigators or people that they're working with that are really interested in family history, and then so get them connected with the family history consultants and those types of people. That's more people, more touch points in the ward. It gets them going in something that's can be a very powerful influence in their life.
Yeah, it's a good missionary tool. I definitely want to do that. Thanks.
All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate the comments and everything. Like I said, it always adds additional information and color to the presentation. That's always helpful. Thank you so much.